This one is real. It has the tags and the labels, and it also has some security devices built in. This is a fake. It's of much poor quality. This is Affliction, a very popular new brand, along with Ed Hardy, that is being counterfeited, and that we seized thousands of these in the raids that took place last week.
Chris, what would you say is the most shocking thing that Canadians don't know about counterfeiting that would shock them?
I think most Canadians understand that luxury goods, such as the clothing and so on here, are counterfeit, and they know that. I think that they don't know that almost everything that you can make, virtually every industry is hit by this crime. You're talking about health and safety aspects of drugs, toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoo, and that's what we need to really get through to Canadians. And it's not, you may not care necessarily where, you may not necessarily care about the luxury goods products, but why don't you care about where the money is going?
Yeah.
And it's going to organized crime, and it's been linked to terrorism in some aspects.
Lauren, Chris, thank you both very much for bringing all this in. Appreciate it. Over to Bev now with a recycling problem.
Not with you. Well, the City of Toronto has taken a step to reduce waste. Starting in June, retailers will be forced to charge customers 5 cents for every plastic bag used. The city has also banned plastic bottles from being sold on their facilities. Waste reduction moves are going on all over the country, but with environmental efforts and the slowing economy, recycling depots are filling up, and the world is looking for a place to put all that paper and plastic. Wes Muir is the Director of Communications for Waste Management. His company collects recycling for municipalities across Ontario. He joins us this morning to explain some of the problems that are going on, and how would an economic downturn, such the likes of which we're in, affect recycling efforts?
Well, what's happened is the value of those materials, helping offset the collection and processing costs, used to partially cover those costs. Now it's not the case. So right now it's costing municipalities a considerable amount of money if they're working the spot market as opposed to long-term contracts.
So the margin goes down and then it's eliminated. And that's not built in for any kind of market fluctuation with the contracts that are signed?
Well, it depends. If a municipality or business has a long-term contract, they're relatively safe. If they're working on the spot market, then yes, a number of municipalities and businesses are in tight situation because they've got this continuous flow coming in, but the reduction of material and the price for those materials has significantly dropped over the past few months.
Okay, so walk us through maybe some of the materials that you would be, paper for example, you know, from the point of picking it up and recycling and through its contract to where it gets recycled.
Well, paper itself is the biggest commodity in the waste stream, recyclable commodity. And with the economic downturn, the closure of mills both domestically and internationally for the demand for that recycled content significantly reduced it, almost dropped $200 a ton in literally a few months. And that was followed by obviously plastics, glass, and metal, and aluminum. So what's happened is that those materials are now being collected, they keep coming in, but the manufacturer, or the people, or the municipalities and such have a diminished return for, diminished market for those because there's less of demand and the price has dropped. So right now they're having their issue is, what do we do with all this material? And now we're into a situation where, are we starting to stockpile this? Are we short-term storage? That's only one component, and that's something you want to do from a long-term perspective because A, that adds to your costs, and secondly, there's a limited shelf life to materials such as plastics and paper.
So what about the capacity for the recycling? I mean, there's some certain fixed costs that are in place to get those, you know, recycling. But if there's a storage component to it, depending on when it gets recycled. What about if we run out of space?
Well, fortunately, we're not there yet. I think it's rather early to be kind of looking at that situation, but clearly that's on people's minds. What do we do with this material beyond short-term storage? When will the markets rebound? We think the markets will rebound, and wish we knew when, but we think that they'll rebound a little different than they did last time because about 5 years ago, when the last recovery, we saw more of an expansion in markets in India, China, and South America, which are taking our materials. It was that precipitous drop in the last 4 months from them literally shutting their markets down and saying, we don't want your paper and your products. So that's what's caused a bit of a backlog in the system.
And you also noticed the change post-Olympics.
Well, that definitely. Right after the Olympics, we saw a sharp decline from Asian markets for paper products specifically.
But you wouldn't say, I mean, in terms of the future of recycling waste management, whether it's a municipality or regional government or whatever it is, there's no danger of an economic downturn having the municipalities or the regions back off. In other words, in this global effort to be more environmentally friendly, we're not worried about that.
No, I think what we should be doing, actually, businesses and residents alike, should be looking at the 2 R's, reduce and reuse. Let's do that first. Remember, recycling is the catch-all. And what we can't recycle, then we look at that residual material. We have to look at disposal. But one of the things we need to be focused in on with in recycling right now is that we don't want to back off on those programs, those successful programs. Obviously, municipalities and businesses need to be take into consideration this economic environment before launching or expanding new programs.
Okay, Mr. Muir, thank you for your time. And next, it's not a myth. The average weight gain over the holidays is 1 pound. We'll look at how to escape the season without going up a size. And later in the show, Survivor Man, from the snake-infested jungles of the Amazon to the Arizona desert. He has survived them all. We'll find out what he's up to now.
CTV, Canada's home of the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Winter Games.
Put a patient's life into one of our residents' hands. Dr. Yang is out of the running. She is going to pick the winner instead.
This is torture for me.
One doctor loses her dream job.
Who are you going to pick?
Well, I'm ranking them according to a system.
Go with your gut.
My gut?
Worked for me. That's what told me to choose you.
While another won't let go of her dream world.
Something's wrong, Alex.
Don't ever talk to me about Izzy again.
There'll always be surgeries. There won't always be fiancés who come back from the dead.
An all-new Grey's Anatomy, tomorrow at 9/8 Central on CTV.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability. Of course, you'd never treat yours that way, right?
Sorry.
The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last.
Always Ultra has protective